Okay, I think we're good to go.
Good. Let me just read the public notice. The Board of Trustees of the Village of Warwick will hold budget work sessions for fiscal year 2021, 2022 at 9:30 a.m. on the following dates: Monday, March 8th, Tuesday, March 9th, and Wednesday, March 10th, 2021. Pursuant to Governor Cuomo's Executive Order 202.1, Village of Warwick budget work sessions will be conducted virtually via Zoom video conference and may be viewed live by the public on the Village of Warwick, New York YouTube channel. So that is that information. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, I appreciate that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with
liberty
and
and justice for all.
Thank you. Could I start out with some good news?
Absolutely.
It seems that we will be receiving aid, federal aid, through the CARE Act or whatever it's called, but it is actually going to be directly to municipalities. It will not be given to the state, and the state kindly give us what we need or have earned. So that's really significant, and the numbers are pretty decent. The way it's broken out is there's a pot that goes to municipalities. It's going to towns, cities, and villages, and counties. And I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but it looks like we're going to get a nice chunk of change, probably maybe up to $200,000. So that is pretty good.
Great.
So I'll keep you posted on that. Senator Schumer's office did send out the numbers, and so I'll pass them on to Mike. He can. How it's broken out is the percentage of the population in the village would get whatever funds are given to the town. So we are about 23% of the population of the town. So that's how the formula is breaking out the dollars. So we'll talk further about that as it becomes more of a reality. So,
any indication as to when we'd receive the funds?
It sounds like they're trying to do this stuff immediately. Really be quick about it and efficient. So I haven't heard, but I'm sure we will in the next few days.
Great.
So that doesn't mean to, go crazy, guys.
Well, I mean, that's to replace the revenue that we lost this year, basically.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Mike?
Okay, we're on A1010, trustees. In a matter of trying to expedite what we're doing, there's nothing there that's different. We will talk about salaries in executive session. On page 2 is Justice A1110. Again, there's nothing extraordinary there. So we'll
excuse me,
on
on the justice, the office supplies, there's a reduction from 2021 to 2022. Is that because the printing of the parking tickets is going to be moved to
Raina, the village clerk's budget?
Okay.
Yep.
the mayor's office. Again, there's nothing new there except a new desk. Page 6.
Maple or walnut, Michael?
I don't know yet, but I hope I can, it would be nice if we could get it. This desk actually
It's a
came
shame
from
we
Rose.
didn't have, what was this? Wisner, the first president of the village, his
Yeah,
desk.
I wonder where that is.
I
Yeah,
wonder.
with the
Did you bring
portrait
the
of
letter?
Lincoln, right?
Yeah.
Gave it to him.
This desk actually came from Rosemary Cooper from when they moved their the old library to the new library, and so that's when this arrived. Before that, it was like a metal,
Yep.
bunker desk that said "No smoking" in the front. Okay.
Okay, next is auditor 181320 for the first time in 10 years. I'm looking for an increase from 12,000 to 13,200. Then we move on to treasurer. There's nothing different in the treasurer's requests. Moving on to assessor, and that's where we need to talk. So we're on 1355. Apparently, we're looking at, instead of a payment, we're looking for him to be on payroll. Is that correct, or am I reading that wrong?
Yes.
That's correct. We started doing that already this year.
So the understanding that I have is if we're paying him the same amount, it's actually costing us at least another $3,000 to $4,000. So in effect, there was a raise there. Is that correct?
It could be
Between
50%.
Social Security, I don't know if he's getting health insurance, but retirement. And that's one of the reasons we never put this person on payroll.
Well, it's part-time, so no health insurance. I think she does contribute to retirement.
So in effect, it's an increase. I'm just letting you know.
Was that her request or?
This is something that started this year. Before I got here, they switched her to payroll.
I
when-
believe it's civil service that said that this is the way it had to be done.
Really? Okay.
Then there's the clerk. Basically, there's nothing too much different, except we're looking for a new copier.
And then the parking tickets under office supplies. So there's quite a
Yes.
chunk of change.
That brings us to
Raina's very organized.
I think it is the attorney, 1420.
I just put up this as a placeholder. I'm not sure how we normally,
Yeah, no. The court prosecutor will go under, actually, we should put the court prosecutor under justice.
you think so?
Yeah,
Okay. I asked a couple of,
I'm
other
I'm sorry, I
municipalities.
don't believe we can do that. The prosecutor's not supposed to be part of the justice.
not even a justice budget.
Yeah, because I had asked a couple municipalities how they do it, and they told me they do it under attorney. That's why I did it here, but I didn't.
Do we know how much this attorney is going to cost?
No, I'm waiting for him he's coming in next week to see the amount of work he's going to be doing. I believe his rate is 150 an hour, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Which he's gonna start working in this budget. So we have to, I guess we can pay it out of here since we haven't spent any money yet, but yeah, I don't know what his cost will be for next year. So that's why I just wrote this little note in for a reminder.
Yeah, I mean, he's started to, I guess, I believe he had a meeting with with the judge, and then they're supposed to, I guess, sit down. He's supposed to sit down. He hasn't done it yet, and start looking at the backload of cases for traffic. And then that should give him a decent expectation as to what his hours would be over the course of a year, so that we could budget it. And this is going to be the same situation as the assessor. Then that he is going to be an employee of the village, and it's going to be
No.
handled that way. No,
No,
it's
No,
a straight. Okay,
it'll be a voucher.
It's a
He'll send us
contract.
It's a contract, yes.
Okay.
The other thing too is, in the bigger picture, it will probably bring in greater revenue to have this. I think it'll be more efficient. He plans to do almost all of the traffic violations on one evening a month. And before, of course, it was a police officer that really didn't have the, I think, the village's back totally. And if they didn't appear, then it was dismissed. And quite often that's what was happening. So I think this will be a much more,
So do we pay him for only the time he is at the court, or prior to that preparation?
I'm trying to,
He felt that
I
prep
think he can
time was
work-
going to be almost minimal, but also, like with the backlog that exists now because of COVID, he's going to be able to process those and send letters to clear that docket. So that would be outside the courtroom, but still clearing the cases. When court's in session, he felt that there would be very, very minimal time, if any, involved with out of court costs. And as the mayor said, he figures that it's gonna go from 3 nights a month to 1 night a month, which means the costs for bailiff and clerk should be reduced. And I think we should have some serious discussions with the town about, the extra money we're paying for police services that are going to be reduced now that we're not requiring the police officers to be in court, because that's usually all overtime.
Yeah, good point.
So why don't we put $10,000 for now in that budget?
the other issue is our DPW negotiations. The contract is up May 31st of 2022, but obviously the negotiations will begin before then. So I think it behooves us to have something in the budget for that work.
Who normally does that?
Keen and Bean.
Oh, they do, okay.
Yeah.
So why don't we add another 5,000 to that?
Yeah. I mean, if it goes over that, this will probably overlap into the following year's budget. So, and the reality is we'll have to watch it, because it's not usually and Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe that the lawyer sits at the negotiation table, correct?
No, it hasn't. No.
So really, it's at the end where he reviews it and gives some input.
All right, so other professional will change from 5 to 10. And that'll make it 70,000 altogether.
You're only raising it 5,000?
Raising that 5,000 and adding 10 for the court prosecutor.
Okay,
So that will give us a total of 70.
got it, okay.
Engineering, Are we still interested in doing engineering for the salt barn?
I thought we agreed we would.
So we'll put $10,000 for the salt barn. Elections, are we having any?
I believe so.
Is there anybody
The
up? for-
mayor and two trustees.
Mayor and two trustees, yeah.
Who, the mayor too? Mayor and two trustees?
Yep.
In next year's budget.
Yeah, it would be
March 2022.
March of 22.
March of 22.
Corey and I can sit here calmly and smile.
Okay, that takes care of that. IT,
So I spoke to the computer guy and they said we need to replace the server. Especially with all the updates that we do to the accounting software. The next update, the server won't be able to do it. So there's that. This disaster recovery computer was on the budget from last year, but we never purchased it, so.
When is it likely to have an update?
I think it's annual.
Well, we've had several discussions on this, and one plan was to buy a computer and put it in a safe location in case something happens to the village hall's equipment. And the other idea was to just store all the information on the cloud. When we talked about the cloud, it was very, very expensive. So I don't recall if we actually came up with the solution. Raina might remember. It looks
not
here like we're just gonna buy a computer that and put it in a safe spot, which involves, any updates that come with software or whatever that, that has to be updated, as needed, so it could be a once a month or whatever. So versus the cloud, we just back up to the cloud. And so I think we should talk to Raina and see and test her memory before we approve any money here.
you
Okay,
get them.
sure.
Talking about computers.
She's gonna come in.
Okay.
Hi,
Yeah, you can sit here.
okay.
Raina, we're on the cyber page of the budget. And if you could help my memory talking about the two plans we have for backups, whether we buy equipment and put it in a safe location or back up everything to the cloud. And as I remember the last conversation or two, the cloud was, extremely expensive to do, to hold that storage. And on the other hand, putting equipment in a safe spot required quite a bit of attention to it as far as updates and backups. So I don't remember the conclusion we came up with as to which plan, A or B.
There was a disaster recovery computer budget in for this year, but we never purchased it, right? So, I don't recall which plan. I don't recall that the decision was ever finalized.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yes, and I think that the plan was to have another cybersecurity meeting to circle back to the
Okay.
new policy that we were going to put in place that detailed
what that decision was going to be and how we were going to move forward with our backups.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, I don't have that information right now.
All right, well, let's just schedule, I think this cyber policy is just about done. Let's see if we can get a meeting with the folks next week or so, and
Sure,
if we can do.
not a problem.
Yep, thank you.
You're welcome. That's it.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, so we'll leave it the way it is for now. And that brings us to special item A1910.
Oh, under village dues, I believe also Orange County Arts we're a member.
Okay.
How much is that?
It's not very much. Maybe $100.
Do we
Question
still have?
on this,
Ed,
a question on the special items, the other, we've got 45,199 in there for the village comprehensive plan for Fairweather. That is the total amount he is due. He will be incurring costs, and I'm sure billing us between when he started about a month ago and May 31st.
Yeah, I just copied this number in here because I wasn't sure from this year's budget.
So why don't I reach out to Peter and see what he thinks
Okay.
is, what he thinks it's going to be spending this year.
Yeah, because we have what we've begun. It's at least 3 months of work, right?
Yeah, sure. March, April, May. Yep.
And it was in last year's budget as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
okay? That brings us to A1930. This is simply any claims that we haven't had for a while, but we still put something in the budget. The MTA tax is based on payroll, 1989. Contingency, we always have 50,000. We never use it, but we leave it in there just in case. And that leads us to police. Is this the number we got from the town?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's 893, 890, which is an increase, small increase, relatively speaking.
But there's a big
That's
increase,
3120.
big increase in January, right?
Yeah, they run January to December, so we have to estimate 5 months. And we do a 5% estimate increase for those 5 months.
Okay, but that could change, right, as far as the court?
Well, that's
That may be wishful thinking.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Let's have that conversation.
You call
It's a
it.
conversation worth having, but it's
It
maybe
is, yeah,
one that
definitely.
maybe we won't get a reduction, but maybe they won't raise the rate next year.
Yeah, and or maybe we'll get some more service. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Okay, then there's a building inspector, 3620. Again, there's not much difference in that. And the next one is 4010, public health. Again, that's only, again, the same thing.
I have to add $200 to the 4910 because of that drug and alcohol clearinghouse that is required for the DPW now. Rena didn't add it originally, so
Okay, so that'll be going from 1,500 to 1,700, and the total will be 2,200.
yes.
Kind of curious. I haven't really remembered noticing this before, but do these costs really belong in public health? Because it's basically our testing of our employees, not for public health, but for the maintenance of their licenses and just to, guard against any of them being impaired while they're on the job.
Not sure where else we would put them, but if you want to put them somewhere else, we more than likely can. I don't see a reason why.
Okay.
The registrar. Whatever that means. Clearly, the money that we spend out is the same amount that comes in.
Yeah.
And again, every year I suggest that perhaps we should look into doing that ourselves. And every year you change your mind on that. Street lighting is next, 5182. You want to discuss any of that right now?
Well, the only thing I'll say, and I've reached out to Sadie on this, I think we're underreporting what our actual costs are. She in the handout she gave us, or the additional backup sheet, the months should not be that variable, and I can't imagine any month would have been under, $5,000 to $7,000, and we've got
So
4
I don't know
months.
if you saw my email
Yep.
that I emailed you back. I just think it's the way that we're paying the bills, because this comes directly out of the system. So
Could it be a coding issue?
it's possible. I don't think so.
Well, I'm coming in after we get done with this. So, maybe if you've got a minute, we can look at it, or, just, give me the folder with all the bills in it, and I'll go through it.
Sure.
Because we've been up around 100,000 for the 4 years prior to this year, and to be at 57 now, or 60 now, or 60 at this point, with 3 months to go, would mean we'd be, what would that be, another 10 or 18? It'd probably bring it up around 70,000, and nothing's changed. If they had a tariff change, it wouldn't have been a reduction. So I'm suspicious of what we're capturing, and we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Well, this is as of March 3rd. So you have March, April, May. But you don't know when the payments are actually made, which we'll have to look at. It very well could be a lot of payments in May, which would bring that number, March, bring that number up.
We pay Orange and Rockland faithfully every month, almost immediately. So, we're seeing the invoices every month. And like I said, there shouldn't be variability, but I'll look at it, and I have to satisfy myself, so I'll do the work to do that.
Okay, next is recreation. Except for personal service, which we'll discuss. Everything else seems to be online. Historian, $500, which we've been budgeting for the last 5 years. Then comes celebrations. We normally go through this to make sure that we're comfortable with who we're giving money to.
I just want to comment that in some cases, they're asking for a significant amount more than in the past. And the other thing is that we had been giving a certain amount of money to Too Good to Toss. They were connected with the Earth Fest and Wickham Works, and it seems now they've divided. And so they are individually asking for a certain amount of money. So that's just to take into account.
And this coming fiscal year, Too Good to Toss doesn't anticipate having an event in April of this year because of the COVID. And so this year's event will probably get postponed into the next fiscal year, September, October sometime. And then it'd go back to the April in 22 to the April date. So this year there would be this coming fiscal year, there would be 2 events, not 1. So we'd have to double what we're giving them. Or we need to consider doubling what we're giving them.
I see the Historical Society has requested $2,000, which is the same as in last year's budget. And I just think back, and I'm a little biased about them, but I just think back to all the things that they were doing over COVID with like socially distant events, but keeping them safe. And I think that adaptability and that flexibility to be able to pivot to holding these events that our community really were essential to. You know, I think with more funding, possibly they would be able to continue to have more events like that.
And Corey, my heart is with the Historical Society, but I do get concerned about the reliance on municipal funds for activities. The other piece of that is that we do a lot of work for them gratis. I mean, we mow the lawn of Lewis Park. We pick up garbage. We're doing, and we're digging up trees in front of the Buckby Center. I mean, we were very generous with our DPW staff to help them in any situation. And we don't really, we never charge them for it, of course. So I think that has to be weighed with the overall number as well.
Right.
Michael, we've got an agreement on that, right? And that we're
Yeah.
helping them with certain things, and it's in support of the things that they do in return that benefit the village. I seem to recall discussions we've had in the past with, for instance, I guess maybe it's the We Do program or community center or something to do with them, that they had to submit the detailed information on their expenses in order to receive their funding. Is that the same case as we've had with the other organizations, not just the Historical Society, but everybody basically has to submit specific costs to justify why we send it to them?
Sadie can speak to that, but yes, we do. Correct, Sadie?
I'm sorry, we lost you guys for a minute.
Oh, okay. So Barry was basically asking, all the, We Do and the community center has to back up their expenditures before we reimburse them. And I believe the same is with any organization that we have funding for, such as the Historical Society, or the library, or whoever
Yeah.
we're correct.
Yeah, they provide us with some sort of receipt or something that for what they are using the money for, and then we'll pay them once they give us that.
Are you there?
Yep.
Okay. So, well, we were gone for a while. So these requests, I just want to go through them. The Walled Valley Community Center for 8,000, is that yes?
Wow, where's that? Oh, that's an increase, isn't
Yeah.
Yeah,
it? Wow. Don't we
By
usually,
how much?
don't we usually give them 3?
1,500.
Oh, I thought it was 3.
No, the 3 is the matching funds from the Youth Bureau.
Oh,
And frankly, we may not have any funding from Youth Bureau for our recreation for this coming year.
Okay, so let's go through this now. Are we giving them 8 or are we going back to the 6,500?
Well, to look at this holistically, the community center is asking for 8, and the Warwick Valley Prevention Coalition is asking for 5. In both cases, pretty significant raises, and they are sort of under the same umbrella.
I mean, they're pretty, well, I feel they're pretty clearly different programs.
Oh, they are, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, in the
Yeah, I
financial-
mean, it's this, they're in the same building and I'm sure they share staff and things like that. But what each of them do are, while they're geared to youth, they're separate things that they're focused on.
I think what's happening, of course, with all of these organizations is that there's an inability to get funding from other resources such as the state. It's just everything's been on hold. So that's been the real issue.
Okay, so I'll ask the question again. Are we doing 8,000 or another number for the community center?
I would say 7,500 or, and then again, for the coalition, 4,000.
What did we do last year for the coalition?
3.
3.
Okay.
yes, 3.
So
Sorry.
7,500 for the community center and 4,000 for the coalition.
right, and we doubled Earth Day.
All right, wait a second now. Environmental clean, are we still doing the 3,000? Which
Yeah, that's the farmer's market that pay part of that, or if not. most
okay.
of
How
it.
about Windsor Library? We're gonna go from 1,200 to 14.
That's the cost of tents,
What?
the cost of tents, the tent for the Children's Book Festival.
Our contribution is that we pay for the tent.
I see. And the Chamber of Commerce from leaving it at 2.
What was that last year?
2. And then village events, Halloween, Apple Fest, 2,500 again. That was what
I
it
don't
was.
believe we will be having those events again this
Why not?
year. They're way, I mean, unless something dramatically changes. I mean, we had Apple Eve
Well-
last year, but we did it virtually. So it's been a very different type of scenario, which is a lot more affordable, of course.
I mean, they're talking about the amusement parks being able to open up in early April. So, it's a limited capacity it's going to be, but by the time I wouldn't not, I want to at least fund Halloween from the standpoint of it pretty likely being, some sort of an event somewhere as opposed to just canceling it at this point because of what we do in the budget.
Yeah, I would
Do you
agree.
want to leave it in there just in case?
Yes.
I agree with that. So
Okay, Earth Day went from 3,500 to 1,878. That was their request. Historical Society.
Wait, that was what Barry was speaking of. That should be doubled, whatever it is.
What was their request?
It's in here.
1878
Okay,
times 2.
Times 2?
Yeah,
Yes.
because that again pays for a tent. The village pays for 1 tent, the town pays for another tent. But the event, which is normally in spring, will be in the fall of this year, and then again in the spring of next year, prior to the end of our budget year.
So that's gotta be 3756.
Uh-huh.
Historical Society at 2,000. That's what it was last year.
Well, after all that, what about 2,500?
You want to raise it to 2,500?
Yeah,
Historical Society?
Yeah. Earth Fest from 1,500 to 3,000.
yeah,
Yeah, last year we gave him, right, it was $1,500 or $1,700 we gave him, right?
well, what happened is obviously Earthfest did not occur, but Wickham Works asked for funding for an arts project that was an installation in areas throughout the village.
Right.
It was very successful. It was a great way of supporting the arts, of course, but I think 3,000 is getting pretty steep. I mean, I don't know if they plan. I guess they plan to have Earthfest next spring.
So what do you want to make it?
I think 2,000.
Okay, 2,000 it is. And then village flowers, declarations, miscellaneous, we'll leave the same.
And what about the on top the summer concerts?
Yeah, do we have a concert coordinator yet?
We do. It's still Bill Iorato.
Is he getting paid? Is he taking the money?
I don't believe he has,
No.
because we did so few. We did a series of virtual concerts, but that was it. And but this year, I think that if we, of course, you know, that it's becoming much more relaxed about numbers and outdoor venues. But if we could change our venue from Railroad Avenue over to Stanley Deming Park on the hill, that would definitely give people the ability to socially distance. And there's parking at the school. We can request that. I think we should keep it the same number and just work with it.
Okay. Takes care of
Michael,
celebration.
the 20,000, was that based on a certain number of concerts? It seems to me they run about 1,000 concert. And because, you know, some recalling, you know, the vouchers and things, you know, sometimes it's 700, sometimes it's 1,200 or 2,000. Is this based on what we normally do with like 16 or 17 concerts, or is this
I think
based on?
We reduced it actually, but maybe Sadie, you have a little bit of the history of that.
Don't have a history of it. I put 20,000 because that's what we budgeted in 2021. I don't have an answer.
Okay.
It doesn't look like we've been budgeting it for that long. The year before that was 25.
Right. That's right. So that's where, you know, it's been reduced. I don't know.
Leave it at 20 then.
Yeah, I think so. Just in case. We did, you know.
I think the thing to also mention is normally there's some revenue collected
There is.
towards
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if that is a factor as well. Are they going to be doing these concerts and charging for them?
We don't charge for them. But Bill Irato,
donations.
you know, as a village, we're not allowed to solicit funds. But Bill Irato, as the concert coordinator, as kind of the summer arts fest, summer music concert in the park, reaches out to the public, and we do receive some donations.
I see, okay.
It may be less significant because of COVID, you know, that's the other thing.
Okay, zoning 8010, nothing new there. 8020 is planning, nothing new there.
Just with why doesn't zoning have personal services associated with it?
Maureen gets paid under planning.
Okay. Everything else gets split up all over the place. It's not.
She never has. I don't know if it's something we want to start doing.
And then I'm a little concerned about the training costs, and maybe that's something I'll need to talk to Maureen about, because I'm not sure what the status is of our planning board members and zoning board members achieving their requirements for training, but and whether there's a lot of free stuff out there, and that's why the costs are so low for one versus the other, and I think low in general. So I'll look into that with Maureen.
Okay.
Okay, after planning is.
Whoa! You're not done with planning yet. What's the office supplies are at 1,500. You know, we've never.
That's what she requested. I'm not sure why she increased it.
I mean, the history is the most we've spent in these since 2017 has been $1,100.
I agree.
And if she doesn't have anything specific, you know, I don't know what would justify. You know, if she needs another piece of equipment, fine, but let us know.
I think put it at 1,000. You know.
Okay.
And then professional services for planning. I'm just curious. There seems to be, you know, a decent budget. Some years it's pretty high, but most all of the professional services should be charged back to the applicants. Is this stuff a discomfort of charging the applicants for certain things, or does this have to do with litigation we're in? I mean, we've had some, you know, if we go back to 17 and 18, I mean, we've had some pretty hefty fees back then. That might have been when we, you know, started to pay more attention to trying to have the professionals charge the applicants' escrow accounts for their services.
Well, I can also say that probably the court costs are in that number
For litigation.
for litigation.
Do we, that brings up another question. Have we gotten any, can we do a summary of what it's cost the village to defend the Elm Street yesterday's court proceedings?
Of course we can. You know, we haven't. I mean, I think we did at one point, you know, just as probably a year or so ago, but we could revisit that. The other thing is we are potentially going to get some money back, but I don't know if that's going to be real or not. So.
Okay.
That was the
Aren't
board decision.
aren't we in litigation also with another project in across the street from, or the Pioneer?
Yes, but there's very little activity with that.
I see.
But it'd be, I think it's important for the trustees at least to know what the costs are of these litigations.
Easily feasible.
Mhm.
Okay, we will provide that. Can we move on to trees?
Yep.
Okay, they're looking for $5,000 increase for trees.
Fine.
I'm good, yeah.
Okay. Retirement is out of our control. Social Security, Medicare, workman's comp, disability, unemployment, medical insurance are all fixed costs determined by the costs.
So just going back to retirement, a question, when we receive, when the employees pay their share, is that netted out of the information that we're seeing? Or is that shown up, does that show up as revenue somewhere else?
No, it's not revenue.
So it's netted out on the numbers
Yes.
we're looking at?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And somehow we have the BAN. And then the last one transferred, 9901, the last page, is the 250,000 every year we're putting into the infrastructure reserve. I'm assuming we want to continue to keep doing that. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
And could I just point out one other thing as we breeze through it, but our workers' comp costs have gone down by what, $5,000?
Yeah.
So that's kudos to our employees for doing a good job and staying safe and not getting injured.
And of course, we received a dividend from Nymer, and Barry had a great idea about kind of having a spread, a food spread for the office staff and for DPW to just show our appreciation. And I think that's a great idea.
What was the idea?
To buy lunch one day.
Oh,
You're welcome to join us, Michael. We'll let you know when, Sadie will let you know when it is and you can come in and chow.
there's champagne with this lunch?
Yeah, right.
Okay, I think that's it for today, gentlemen, ladies.
Good.
Thank you.
Do you want to do salaries?
Yeah, if you want to go in executive session, sure.
We can do that.
Whatever way that is. How do you do it? Executive session on it?
I have to end the meeting and Raina will send out a new invite.
Wait a minute. Again, two things. I have to leave in like 15 minutes.
Oh,
Number
okay.
two, I think we should wait for George.
Okay. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
We'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah, and if we could
Tomorrow?
get the information on what people are paid and maybe a couple years of history in terms of the increases.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. So now we're done.
And am I still coming in to talk about streetlights with
You
Yep.
betcha.
Michael and Michael?
Yes, you
All
are.
right. I'll pack up and be on
I'm
my
here.
way.
See you in a little bit.
Come on.
Bye.
Bye.